There's water in the atmosphere, and so if we are at a very high and dry site, water will not block the radio waves.
Radio waves that have traveled through space for millions and billions of years. Soon there will be 66 antennas up here, spread out across this plateau, and they can all be pointed at the same time at a patch of outer space.
Woohoo! Look at this! They're definitely doing a little dance. Some are spinning one way, some the other.
This one's stationary, that one had moved before. This is radio astronomy ballet.
We were invited up inside one of them to take a closer look.
This is like being on your own amusement park ride, right?
A totally geeky amusement park ride, that's right.
So you're giving it the directions now?
I'm giving.
I was even allowed to operate it.
And Brian Williams, as nerdy as you are, I know you have reached your peak of human jealousy at this exact moment. God, look at these mountains back there. Talk about desert. Gee. We should say, at 16,500 feet, we've been up here for a couple of hours. Yeah. How do you feel?
I'm a little punchy.
Time then for a hit of oxygen. Installing all this technology up here was described to us as second only in difficulty to building in Antarctica. Example, how do you move a 115-ton antenna with something that could only be designed to move a 115-ton antenna?
Are you driving it? So he's got the controls for this gigantic machine right there, and he's driving it as it's going to come in and pick this thing up. That is very cool.
It takes more than 6 hours to move one of these things from the base camp to the plateau.
You know, when you're around this for a day or so, it's almost hard to comprehend just how much technology is involved in putting these things together and making it all work correctly.
We're asking really big questions, you know, deep questions about what's our place in the universe, why are we here, how are stars made, why do they have planets, how are those planets forming? And to ask big questions, you need big technology, big engineering, state-of-the-art stuff. So that's what we got here, and you need it, and that's what Alma has.
Scott Ransom is based at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory in Charlottesville. He's also a professor at the University of Virginia. Ransom graduated from West Point, served as an artillery officer, and got a PhD from Harvard. He first fell in love with space when he saw Carl Sagan's Cosmos on PBS.
Yeah, Carl Sagan, my boy,
he shared with us.
What are we looking at here?
So this is one of the most impressive images, in my personal opinion, that humankind has ever created. This is known as the Hubble Ultra Deep Field. The stunning thing in here is that on the screen right now, there's a total of 1 star. That's this guy right here with the little cross.
Right.
Everything else you see in this image is a galaxy.
So in this whole picture, this is the only star.
Yeah.
Every other representation of light out there is a galaxy.
That's right.
And a galaxy is like the Milky Way.
That's right. Billions of stars, hundreds of billions of stars.
This picture aimed at just a chunk of the sky. It can't be the whole sky.
No, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little chunk of the sky.
That's breathtaking.
It is. And the cool thing is, Alma is going to do this.
Essentially, what Alma can do, what all radio telescopes can do, is see in the dark. And if you can see in the dark, you can see how stars are born. To create its first test pictures, Alma pointed at 2 galaxies colliding in space some 70 million light years away. Optical telescopes couldn't pierce the dark clouds of gas and dust, but Alma detected these bright yellow areas for the first time where stars are actually forming. And as Carl Sagan taught us all those decades ago,
the Earth and every living thing are made of star stuff.
They process and make carbon, oxygen, nitrogen that's in the air, the iron that's in your blood. We are star stuff. Every single atom in your body has gone through the life cycles of many generations, several generations of stars, which is really mind-blowing to think about.
There's some nutty stuff going on
There is. And I get to do this every day. I love my job.
What's the likelihood that there's another speck out there that's something like us?
I think it's almost inevitable that, first off, there's other life out there of some kind. And even, I would even go further and say the fact that there's intelligent life out there is almost inevitable as well. And this has been strengthened dramatically in the last 10 or 15 years because we now know that many, many stars, matter of fact, the majority of stars in our galaxy have planetary systems. They have planets, just like around our own sun. There's hundreds of billions of planets out there just in our own galaxy, so there's got to be life, in my opinion.
In The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain wrote about the stars. Huck said, "We used to lay on our backs and look up at them and discuss whether they was made or just happened."
Why is it important to understand the universe?
Well, on a day-to-day basis, it's not. We could live our lives, you could born, live your whole life, and die without knowing anything about what a star is, what a galaxy is, that there are even planets going around the sun, and you'd be fine. And people did that for hundreds of thousands of years. But mankind's a curious beast. We want to know, what is our place? How do we fit in? What makes this whole thing tick? How does it change with time? At least I want to know those things. I mean, I can't believe people aren't curious and dying to know why we're here.
The telescopes, high in the Chilean desert, are in a place the ancients called Chacnandor. The local people used to come here to pray to the Pachamama, the Earth Mother, and this is the place where their dreams and prayers took flight. Socrates said, man must rise above the earth to the top of the atmosphere and beyond, for only thus will he fully understand the world in which he lives.
Where I'm from, you say Pachamama, you better be ready for a fight.